so much for joining us today. I'm Ellie. I'm going to be talking tonight, as you all know, about AIP and my experience and what that is. And this is my first time doing one of these, so I apologize if there are any weird things that happen. Hopefully not. If you have questions during, make sure you send us a message and I'll try and go over them at the end. If you're watching from the app, if you go to the bottom of your screen and hit participants, you'll be able to go in there and hit chat and send us your questions. So we're just going to give everybody just a little bit of time to get started, and we'll get moving here in just a minute. Let's go ahead. Let me just hit through on here. Oh, gotta click on here. Okay, so today we're talking about the autoimmune protocol, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. So I am our medical assistant. I also do our nutrition consulting. I have my bachelor's degree in nutritional science from Ohio State. I graduated in 2013 and have worked in a few clinical and other settings, including personal training, since then. So I've always been involved in the fitness and health industry, and so learning about AIP was a pretty new thing for me. So it's been fun to learn a little bit more about it and discover everything there is about the gut and learning to heal it. So a little bit more with my background. As a kid, I wasn't sick a lot, but enough that I was on antibiotics fairly often. Also very injury prone, had a couple surgeries as a teen and in my 20s. So that all takes a tax and a toll on the body, which we'll talk about in a few minutes here. Then in 2013, I graduated from Ohio State, and since then have been very focused on fitness, nutrition, health, but still fighting a lot of brain fog, feeling very fatigued all the time, very, very achy, and having some gut issues. So it kind of took a while to figure out what was actually going on. And actually, this past June, I sat down with Dr. McCrae. We did my lab work. We went over everything and found out that I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease where your body attacks your thyroid. So mine is fairly early stage, but we wanted to go ahead and start treating it before it became super symptomatic. And so that's where AIP came in. And then since then, I really started feeling a lot better. My brain fog is pretty much gone, although I think it's always going to be there a little bit. Headaches are gone. I'm sleeping through the night for the first time in years. My pain is far less than it was before I started AIP. And my gut's just doing a lot better, which is great. You can see that cause a lot of different changes in the body. Everything that I've talked about, even your nails growing better, your hair growing better. It's pretty cool. So that's my experience so far, or my experience leading up to AIP. So what exactly is AIP? To answer that, we first need to address the autoimmune part of that. So autoimmune diseases are where your body's immune system, which is designed to protect your body and fight invaders, misdiagnoses your own parts of your body as invaders. So it picks certain cells that it thinks are not good for the body and it attacks them. In my case, it attacks my thyroid. Other diseases include type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Crohn's and colitis. There are over 100 different types of autoimmune disorders, and it's pretty prevalent in America. I think like 1 in 6 Americans have an autoimmune disease that's diagnosed, and there are probably far more that are undiagnosed. So it's becoming a bit of a very common thing. So where autoimmune protocol, AIP, comes in is it's the idea of using the body's own system to try and help heal and reboot. And a lot of that comes from healing the gut. So at Vitality, we use a whole body approach to try and treat this. Dr. McCrae or any of our other practitioners who are all wonderful, Danielle, Dixie, everybody will sit down with you, listen to what's going on, look at your blood work, look at your medical history, your family history, little events in your life that might seem minor to you, and they're going to find the root cause for whatever you're experiencing. And then we're going to use a whole body approach to treat that. So if we find that you're having an autoimmune disease or just simply leaky gut, which is a part of this, we're going to use a wide variety of systems to help treat it. So let's get started on talking about that. So the autoimmune protocol is a diet that's kind of like a more restrictive form of paleo or Whole30, which sounds kind of scary. Nobody likes restrictions. So we're going to talk about what you do get to eat first. This is a diet that's not meant to be done forever. Most people do at least 2 months. Some need more like 6 months to a year. And then with maintenance, you repeat it for probably 2 months out of the year before reintroducing the foods that you weren't eating. Things to focus on eating: healthy proteins and fats. We eat a lot of meat with AIP. If you're a vegetarian and you need to do this, we can help you ease into eating meat again. Grass-fed meat is important. I used to kind of scoff at that, but there's a good reason for it. Omega-6 fatty acids are in grain-fed meat. Omega-6 fatty acids are inflammatory for the body. Omega-3 fatty acids are in grass-fed meats, and they have an anti-inflammatory effect on the body. They're also very common in cold water and fresh wild-caught seafood. So also very important there. So we focus on eating really healthy meats. Turkey and chicken, limit them a little bit because they have more of those omega-6 fatty acids, but seafood, pork, beef, rabbit, venison, all of that's great. The other thing that we focus a lot on is eating organ meat, which nobody likes to do. Well, that's not true. A lot of people kind of are grossed out at the idea of eating chicken livers or beef hearts. But contrary to popular belief, they're actually very good for the body. They don't contain toxins. They're more like filters than sponges. So they filter the toxins out of the body, and they're filled with a ton of nutrients and antioxidants. For vegetables, we eat a very wide variety. You want to have a colorful diet: deep dark greens, purples, reds, oranges, yellows, every color of the rainbow. Leafy green vegetables are really important. Kale, spinach, romaine, anything like that. Root veggies, think about parsnips, carrots, beets. Some sweet potatoes are great. Things like jicama, which are more fun and exotic and make you feel like you're having a really fun diet. Yucca or cassava, it's got a couple different names. It's this big, brown, long root that you can find at stores like Meijer in their produce section. So root veggies are great. Cruciferous vegetables are awesome. And then other vegetables like onions, chives, shallots that bring a lot of flavor to food. And then mushrooms are great too. Again, you get a lot of flavor in this diet. It seems a little bit boring at first, but you actually do get a good amount of flavor. And then finally, fruit. We eat some fruit on this diet. You don't want to eat a ton because we're focusing on healing the gut, and sugar is not the greatest thing for healing. So we try to limit our fruit intake, but it's great for smoothies. I like to put coconut, avocado, greens, and a little bit of fruit in a smoothie every morning with some collagen peptides to have a nice gut healing breakfast. So eat what's in season. Right now, peaches, what else is in season? Apples, pears are coming up. All great stuff, all good fresh stuff. So what don't we eat? Seems like that leaves a lot that we don't eat. And it is a lot. The biggest things are grains, dairy, nightshades, which are going to be potatoes, tomatoes, eggplant, peppers. We cut out sugar because, again, these are all things that are going to inflame the gut. So we want to keep those limited, well, actually totally limited with this. Beans and legumes are also on there. That includes peanuts, seed and vegetable oils too. So sesame oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, all gone. That includes nuts and seed butters. So sunflower butter, peanut butter, almond butter, it's all gone, unfortunately, but not permanently. We really, really try to stay away from food additives like guar gum, carrageenan, any sort of artificial or natural flavoring. Again, we're trying to keep a whole natural approach with this, only eating foods that are going to encourage healing and foods that are nutrient dense. We also cut out eggs during this. Eggs can be surprisingly inflammatory and can cause reactions for a lot of people, in particular egg whites. So we try to keep those at bay for a while. Those are one of the first things we reintroduce. There is a system for that. Fruit and berry spices are also kept out. Those can include allspice, cardamom, anise, juniper, white, black, and pink pepper. Black pepper is okay for some people. That's something we determine on a case-by-case basis. And the last thing, not the last thing, but alcohol. Nobody likes to hear when we have to cut alcohol in coffee, but let me tell you, it's doable. I'm a big wine drinker. I love cocktails on occasion, and I did it without it for quite some time, and you can too. So we're going to keep moving, and I'll talk through how I did that. Okay, so superfoods. There are a lot of great things you can eat on AIP that are going to encourage healing in the gut. Fermented foods are a huge part of that. Probiotics are so good for the stomach, and you don't just get them from a supplement. You can get them from your diet as well. Kombucha, sauerkraut, non-dairy kefir, so like coconut or water kefir, can be hard to find, but it's great for the stomach. Fermented fruits and veggies, you can find recipes for AIP compliant pickles or fermented vegetables that are super easy to make at home. And then fermented meat and fish are also awesome. Bone broth is a huge staple that I used a lot on AIP, continue to use as I continue to use this protocol. There are a few brands out there that you can purchase that are compliant. Epic brand for sure. I think Kettle and Fire is, and also good. You can find them on Amazon. I think Meijer and Walmart carry Kettle and Fire, and Whole Foods carries Epic brand. You can also make it yourself, which is a lot cheaper. I go to Wilgings, the butcher here in town, and get a couple pounds of beef bones with marrow for $6. And I add in some water, some apple cider vinegar, some herbs, and cook it in the pressure cooker. And I'm, within a pretty short amount of time, I'll have some broth. That's something that you can drink in the morning. You can add to recipes. And it's just full of collagen, which is great for the gut, again, great for the body and healing. So it's a good thing to incorporate. Otherwise, turmeric and ginger are both well known to be good for the body. They're certainly really good for healing. Kale's a super fad. You love it or you hate it. It's great to incorporate as much as you can. I really like throwing it in a breakfast hash with some ground beef or sausage and some sweet potatoes and onions and garlic. Super good with an egg, but it's just still super good without it on AIP. Liver, again, is great. There are some great recipes out there for working it into your diet. If anybody has a recipe that they love, I'd love to hear about it because I haven't found a way to love it yet. Canned fish has been a really great thing for me. Having compliant salmon has been super helpful for quick, easy meals and snacks. And then dandelion tea is something that I've enjoyed in place of coffee because I'm a big coffee drinker. And then collagen, super important for healing. Collagen is in everything. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. Sun's kind of bright. We carry this in the office, Collagen by Ortho Molecular. It has hyaluronic acid. It has, I think, chondroitin. It's got a ton of great products in it that are great for healing, not just the gut, but everything. It's not a high protein supplement because we want your body to be able to absorb what's in it. So it's a super great staple. We carry it here in the office. I highly, highly recommend it if you're trying to get your body to work right. All right, so what everybody really wants to know, tips and tricks for surviving AIP and how I've done it. I'm a huge foodie. Everybody who knows me knows that. My husband and I both are all about food and enjoying meals with family and friends. And it's totally doable to keep doing that on AIP. You just have to plan for it. Picking the right restaurant is super, super important. There aren't a ton of places in the Mansfield area that are going to be really, really easy to eat at, but it's doable. I highly recommend trying to find like a steakhouse, somewhere that you can get an easy steak cooked in a compliant oil like coconut oil, avocado oil, and then a double side of vegetables steamed or cooked in one of those oils. it's pretty easy to fill up on that kind of stuff and feel like you're getting a really good meal out of it. I've probably eaten steak twice a week for the last couple months, and it's been awesome because my husband's a great cook, so that's also been super helpful. Fish is also super easy to eat out. I know Hubbard Grill in Columbus is one really, really great place to go if you're on AIP. They're happy to do scallops or trout or steak cooked the way you need it with a side of vegetables. They'll even serve your sparkling water in a wine glass so you feel like you're not missing out with everyone else. Some other great places to eat. Wakano here in town, you can get sashimi, which is just the raw fish. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some ingredients that you can take with you to make your own soy sauce that doesn't have soy. So that's a great option. Any place that has poke food is really popular right now, like tuna. It's like raw tuna with a bunch of veggies and different things. High Poke in Columbus is great. You can cut out everything that's not compliant and just keep in what you enjoy. I had one recently with like kale and I don't even know, all this great stuff in it, and it was totally safe. I didn't have to worry about what I was eating. Planning ahead when you're not at a restaurant is also super important. I highly, highly, highly recommend meal prepping, and you can even freeze your meals ahead of time if you want to. Snacks are great too. One thing I love about AIP is that you eat a lot of food. I love eating, and I felt like a lot of the time I needed to eat a lot of food to get the nutrients that I needed. So snacks are a big part of that. Some of my favorites, Epic bars. You can get them at Kroger, Whole Foods. I think Meijer carries them. They're these little beef bars or bison or venison. Fairly high protein, a nice snack if you got to get to your next meal. Toasted coconut chips. That's probably been my favorite discovery from AIP. They're just super, super delicious. They're great in place of granola or with a sweet treat. Plantain chips are another huge staple that I love. My husband and I eat them probably too much now. Super easy to find. They're really, really delicious. Sliced veggies are always great to have a healthy snack. Fruit in moderation, smoothies. And then for beverages, what I really love is getting kombucha. And if you haven't had kombucha, it's a fermented beverage, fermented tea with fruit and flavoring, natural flavoring in it. And actually at the Field Market downtown here, it's 2 doors up from, technically down, whatever, from Relax, has kombucha on tap. And they're the only place in Ohio that has this particular kombucha on tap. And let me tell you, it's amazing. We get a growler per week in our house and easily go through it. And for me, I really like their ginger flavor because it helps me feel like my stomach's settled. And if I am having any issues, it takes care of that. So super awesome. Check it out. If you really miss wine or cocktails, it's a really great replacement to feel like you're still indulging. Another great tip is buying what's in season. It seems really expensive sometimes to eat on this diet when you focus on the high quality meats and the expensive baking ingredients and everything else to get compliant food. So focus on what's in season. Go to your farmers markets, your produce stands, local grocers. I'm super excited for pumpkin season. Starbucks thinks it's here already. The weather outside would dictate otherwise, but enjoy what's in season, and you're not going to go wrong. It's going to make things a little bit more affordable, certainly. And then finally, the biggest focus here is eating foods that are going to help you heal. Focusing on a diverse, nutrient-dense diet is going to serve you really, really well. And basically what I've laid out is that focusing on high quality meats, a diverse range of vegetables, and a little bit of fruit here and there, and finding those great foods like chicken livers and beef livers and bone broth that don't necessarily sound super appealing, but actually are quite good and are going to help you to get things working, get things healing, and start feeling a lot better. So let's see what's next here. Okay, coffee addicts, where are you? I'm one of them. Kristen's one of them. She's hanging out with me. It is survivable without caffeine. Best advice I can give, and I learned this the hard way because I'm stubborn, do not go cold turkey. It's a terrible idea with coffee. If you're a regular or frequent coffee drinker, you have to taper off or you will go weeks before your headaches disappear. I cut my volume of coffee in half every day for a week. And by the end of the week, the whole time I had no headaches. I was totally fine. And I switched to roasted dandelion root tea. You can get it at Kroger. You can also try Coffig, which I have right here. It's a really awesome roasted fig drink that you dissolve, and it's actually quite good. If you just want that warm morning cup of coffee or tea, that's what I really enjoy. Herbal teas are great too. Rooibos, I say it, I don't know, rooibos, chamomile, peppermint, all great options. Or what I love doing is starting your morning with some bone broth. I'll put it in my mug, walk around the office with my Starbucks travel mug filled with bone broth, and it smells a little funny and it makes my mouth a little greasy, but I know that I'm filling my body with really, really important nutrients. Okay, so cooking and snacking on AIP is also super doable if you plan ahead. Some of my staple ingredients are actually pretty easy to find. Some you have to get online. Coconut aminos are a sweet replacement for soy sauce. So if you notice in a lot of Asian recipes, there's some sweetness in it. Usually that's added by honey or something similar. Coconut aminos is kind of all in one. So you get some salty, you get some sweet, and it's a great replacement for soy. It's a great marinade. It goes really well in sauces as well. And if you combine that with fish sauce, particularly the red boat fish sauce, it's going to give you this great umami flavor boost that's going to make your recipes taste a lot better. That's one thing that I've heard a lot from others on AIP is that there's not much flavor. You just got to know how to make it. Fish sauce and coconut aminos definitely help. And then as far as baking, there's a couple flours because you can't have any grains. So first, if you think gluten-free, well, that's really doable. Grain-free is a lot harder, but there are some flours out there that are totally free of grains and are safe to do if you occasionally need to bake with them. Cassava flour is also known as yuca flour. It's popular in a lot of Latin American, South American countries. Easy to find on Amazon. I've got a link to it a little bit later on here. Tiger nut flour is another great one. It's really, really good in baking recipes. Coconut flour. Arrowroot starch is another sort of flour that is a great replacement. It's a great replacement for cornstarch. Coconut sugar you can find really, really easily. Even Kroger carries it. I mean, it's everywhere. Local maple syrup. If you've got someone local you know that makes organic syrup, it's a great sweetener. Same with local organic honey.
Someone said Molnar syrup.
Molnar syrup, yep. Molnar syrup. Or Pleasant Hill Outdoor Camp. They have great stuff too. Plantain chips, again, the Epic bars. Epic brand also makes pork rinds. This is probably my other favorite discovery. I've never really liked pork rinds. I think they're kind of airy and gross and they make my throat feel dry. But Epic pork rinds are 11 grams of protein per serving and 0 carbs and like 2 grams of fat. So they're kind of the perfect crunchy snack. Way, way, way healthier than chips and totally compliant. You can get them at Whole Foods. I think it's cheaper there than going online. If you have an Amazon account and you shop at Whole Foods, anything on sale, you get an extra 10% off. So I'll do a Whole Foods trip with you if you need somebody to go with you, because I can always buy stuff there. Again, the coconut chips and kombucha, these are all, I'm repeating them because they're really, really helpful. All of these snacks are super easy to find. Kombucha, like I said, at the field market, they also have some other snacks down there that are compliant. They have sweet potato chips. And I'm keeping my eye out for what else they might get in stock here soon that is AIP friendly. Okay, online resources. This is information that you can go to right now as soon as we're done here. Please don't go till I'm done. And you'll get an email for this with this information in it. But these are some resources that I found to be really helpful. Phoenix Helix is a great website that not only teaches you about AIP, but gives you recipes. They do these recipe roundups that have like 30 or 50 recipes in each one, and they're awesome. I found a lot of really, really amazing recipes from that website. Things like slow cooker or instant pot carnitas. There's just a lot of really great ones. A Squirrel in the Kitchen is another one. Sophie Van Tiggelen, I think, is the one who runs that, and she wrote one of my favorite AIP books. It's got a ton of great recipes, everyday meals, appetizers, breakfast, sweet stuff. So it's super, super awesome. These other ones here are also great too. Thrive Market is a good place to go online and buy a lot of AIP ingredients. So keep that in mind too if you're searching. And then some of my favorite recipes. Michael, my husband, made this AIP margarita mocktail, and I legit thought I was drinking a margarita. Super fresh ingredients, super refreshing. The tortillas as well are probably something I'm going to forever make and eat. They're super easy. They're absolutely delicious. It's a really great substrate if you miss bread, so keep those in mind. And the other ones here too, check them out. They're absolutely awesome. Okay, real quick, a couple books that I highly recommend. The top one, Autoimmune Wellness Handbook. We have it here in the office. It's got a great guide to starting AIP, reintroducing foods, how to take care of your body otherwise with like exercise, yoga, mindfulness, journaling, all things that help the body heal. And then these other two are just some great recipe books that I love. I'm all about food, like I said, so AIP was very overwhelming, but books like this make it really easy to find food that you can eat and enjoy eating. So if you're still wondering if AIP is right for you, you have a couple options. If you're already an established patient, I'd be happy to set up a consult with you. We can do it in person, or if that's not convenient, we can do it over the phone or over Zoom like this and talk about your questions and concerns and see if it's right for you. If you are a new patient, we'd love to schedule a visit with you with Danielle, our nurse practitioner. Again, she can do that in person or by video conferencing. So give us a call, either office, and we can get that set up for you. So I think now we will open things up to questions.
We have a few.
Awesome.
Let's see. It was KVASS.
Kvass, I think is how you say it. It's like a Eastern European fermented beverage. It's not quite the same as kombucha, but it's another fermented beverage. You can find recipes. It's traditionally made with grains, but there are a lot of recipes out there made without grain. I think rye is the traditional grain, but I've seen beet versions. It's very similar to kombucha.
How to ask a question if you don't know.
Oh yeah, again, if you don't know how to ask a question, if you're using the app, you can tap the bottom of your screen, keep saying that, and hit participants. And from there you can submit questions and just go ahead and type those in. I'd love to help if you have any questions. It's a lot of information, so let me know what we can do for you. Anything else?
We'll give everyone just one more minute.
Yeah, if you guys have any last questions, please.
What about freeze-dried fruit?
Freeze-dried fruit, great question. So in small amounts, freeze-dried fruit is great, especially if you're having a sweet craving. It's a great way to get that little sugar fix, but watch it because freeze-dried fruit does still have sugar in it. It's not as bad as regular dried fruit, but you still need to be careful with it. So think of it as a treat rather than a daily thing that you eat.
Sydney 94 asked, I don't know if we can answer this question here, but Sid has been on it for a month. Should she start adding food back?
So that's a great question. I think that's coming from Terry. I would love to chat with you about what she's been feeling, see what sort of relief she's had. Usually you want to see an extremely substantial depression of symptoms before we start to reintroduce foods. And for everybody, that timing is a little bit different. So it's very case by case. Anybody else got anything? I hope this was super helpful. I feel like it's just a lot of information and we just barely breached the surface, but hopefully it gives you a starting point. Please call us if you have questions and want to schedule a consult. We would love to do so. I like talking, so I'd be happy to talk with you.
Do you want to tell them about getting their email?
Yeah, so you should get an email, I think around 8 o'clock. It's going to have our handout that gives you an overall guide to the autoimmune protocol, and then you'll also get some links to some of the things I've linked in here, resources, books, some of my favorite recipes. So click away at those once you get them, and please share this information if you have anybody else, friends, family, who you think might benefit from this. Okay, well, Well, thank you guys all for listening. I'm going to figure out how to turn this off. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.